So how does a resource move from unconventional to conventional? A very good question. People stay with the terms without really understanding it. I would state to you, as a resource becomes economic and enters the marketplace, it becomes conventional. As it increases its market share, it becomes part of what would be called a conventional energy supply. But you'll notice in my presentation, I did not use the words conventional or unconventional. I used traditional, historical versus future or current. Deliberately I did that because personally, as a researcher looking forward, I don't see a clean distinction between what is unconventional and conventional. I see a resource becoming economic, being used, depleted, another resource becoming economic, used, and depleted. Just a few points in background. So the resource development in Alberta, we do not rely on a national oil company. So we actually lease out the resource to investor-owned companies to make the investment, run the operations, and we share in the profits through royalties and taxation. So we're quite different in that than a lot of the world. So when we look at developing a resource such as oil or gas, and even to an extent it can be renewables, hydro, the same thing, we have a little bit of a different system in place. So our policy tools are different. We're not a direct investor. So what we will do is we will change tax regulation, we will change the royalties we receive, we may fund infrastructure, we support research and development. We use a different set of policies rather than actually going in and investing the money ourselves. And so this is the point that I was making in my presentation. We require a lot of data to be provided to us so that we can understand how the industry is operating. So if we were a national oil company, we would be sitting at the table and we would have all the information coming in. But we're not. We're outside. So what we require is a lot of information coming in to us, in many cases being audited, being third-party verified. And that's the information we use to manage the industry. So it's different by virtue of the way we've decided to develop our resources. In short, we collect a lot of data, a lot of good data, data that is not in the public domain in other jurisdictions. It is in ours. So you're speaking to somebody who is a researcher. Is there ever a single technology that is right? The answer is yes and no, because I see in research that the technology has to develop, it has to evolve. So as we begin to apply a technology, we find out where we need to improve it. And so we do improve it. So one always has to go back a few years to judge where the technology is moving through. So today's technology in fracking is not the fracking technology that was first developed 40 years ago. It's vastly improved, and it will still improve vastly in the next 5, 10, 15 years. As we, through data, get a better understanding of what's happening in the reservoir, we'll have the ability to operate things such as fracking operations in better fashion. And that was my last sort of comment today. The complexity of the industry is way beyond what most people believe. And that complexity involves the management of data, of understanding. So we're in a new world. We're in a high-tech industry, in the oil and gas industry. In what areas are we looking at improving oil and gas production? And that was what I was trying to refer to in the presentation. As we get operating data, as we begin to understand reservoir pressures, reservoir temperatures, the porosity, the permeability in greater detail, we will find that we'll be able to operate the projects to a higher degree of precision. That higher degree of precision means significantly less impact to the environment, because it means we're not invading the environment. In fact, we're understanding when we would have the potential to go into a water zone, for example. the potential when we would go into an area we didn't want to be. So I see the ability to understand, collect more data, monitor more data, see more data being directly related to improved environmental performance.